from the countries of Denmark, Ireland, Belgium, Germany, France, Italy, Netherlands, Sweden, and Austria. They are coming here to interact with the leadership of the National Unity Platform, is like has happened previously. These gentlemen and ladies are here on behalf of their countries that send them here as friends of the country called Uganda. And so every so often they interact with different stakeholders in our politics, governance, etc., etc. And so that's how they get to interact with people like us. They are obviously very concerned about a number of things. They're concerned about the human rights violations that are happening in our country. They're blatant, they're glaring. Anybody sees these human rights violations that keep happening. And so the ambassadors see these things and they're very concerned. They're concerned about the killings of Ugandans. You know, that has happened before the election, during the election, and after the election. They're very concerned about the abductions that keep happening. You know, the notorious cars, minibuses called drones, that keep moving during the night and abducting people, many of whom are our supporters. And so their crime is that they're supporters of NUP and the Honorable Kyagulanyi. And they're also concerned about the arbitrary arrests, of course. Many of the prisons, especially Chitalia, is full of NUP supporters. Their crime is just that they support NUP and the Honorable Kyagulanyi. And so the ambassadors are concerned about this. They are concerned about, you know, a number of things that happened within the election. And at an opportune time, they will be able to communicate as well. In our engagement with them, we had an ask to put to them, because these are considered friends of Uganda, and Ugandans consider them to be our friends, our development partners. And so we have asked them, one, not to be silent about the goings on in Uganda, about the human rights violations, the killing of people and so on, things which they see themselves. And so we have asked them, please don't be silent. We are not asking them to come and run the affairs of our country. And again, Mr. Tibuhaburwa and people in government keep blackmailing our development partners. When they see them in meetings like these with us and NUP specifically, they will say, now these NUP people have got a Western agenda. And we're like, wait a minute. After they meet us, they go and meet government officials. They go and meet Mr. Tibuhaburwa. Whose agenda does he have? You know, Mr. Tibuhaburwa has blamed them of funding us. We wish they were funding us. All our flag bearers would have got nominated, as you know. There are some of our flag bearers for MP position that didn't get nominated. They didn't have the 3 million shillings. As a party, we were able to help those who were able to help, but we couldn't help everybody. We didn't have funding, you know. But they're very people, they fund government and all of that. And so our ask to them is, please keep speaking out about the ills that are happening, because Uganda is part of the international community. And so Mr. Tibuhaburwa and the people in his government cannot say the West, the international community, should shut up about the affairs in Uganda, like he often says. No, we don't believe that. We are part of the international community. And so the international community ought to hold us as a country accountable, as we also hold them accountable. You know, for example, we are in South Sudan as a country. We are in Central African Republic. Why? Because we are part of the international community. We ought to hold these countries accountable. And so we are asking them of the same thing. We're not saying, come and run the show here. Uganda is a sovereign state. We have not. And we are not asking them to even be in support of any political party like NUP. What we have asked them is not to be necessarily on the side of NUP as a political party, but we've asked them to be on the side of Ugandans, to be on the side of the people of Uganda. Because the people of Uganda are the ones being killed, being arrested, being maimed, and all these violations happening to them, you know. So that was our general request to them, that as friends of the people of Uganda, keep speaking out, don't pay a blind eye, as all these violations happen to the people of Uganda. So that's the cordial engagement that we had with the ambassadors from the European Union today. Question of mediation. So you asked, did it necessarily come up? We discussed a wide range of issues. But our view about mediation has continuously been, one, this is not something personal between Honorable Kyagulanyi and Mr. Tibuhaburwa. There's nothing personal between the two of them. Mr. Tibuhaburwa came with his rebels, they took over power when Honorable Kyagulanyi was 4 years old, you know. So there's nothing personal between the two of them. These are matters of the country. So the idea that Mr. Tibuhaburwa and Mr. Kyagulanyi will sit in a room and sort out, quote unquote, their issues or their differences. There's no personal issues, there's no personal differences. The issues that Honorable Kyagulanyi raises are matters of the country. He's raising issues of corruption. He's raising issues of human rights violations. He's raising issues of theft of taxpayers' money. He's raising issues of no medicine in our hospitals, no schools for our children, etc., etc., etc. These are not personal matters between Mr. Kyagulanyi and Mr. Tibuhaburwa. No. These are matters of the country. So our stand as NUP has always been, any interaction, and we are not actually opposed to an interaction. We're only saying, and whenever Mr. Tibuhaburwa talks of mediation and so on, his modus operandi is to co-opt, you know. So Honorable Kyagulanyi, you come and tell me, you know, what is it? What can I do for you? You know, here is a few billions of shillings and that kind of thing. We are adults. We are not children. We cannot engage in that kind of shallow engagement, because that's what he does. He reaches out to our leaders, calls them quietly and says, you know, what can I do for you to stop, you know, talking about these things? How much can I give you? That's his way of doing things. That's not our way of doing things. Okay, because even when you do that, and yes, he has succeeded in buying off some of our leaders, but you see, the problems don't go away. When today, Mr. Tibuhaburwa, for example, wakes up, and let's even imagine he's able to successfully get Joel Senyonyi with whichever amount of money, but taking Senyonyi or any other leader of the NUP does not take away the human rights violations. It doesn't put medicine in hospital. It doesn't pay our teachers better. It doesn't stop the land grabbing, the corruption, and all these different things. And so for us, we are saying any discussion should be about the critical matters that affect the people of Uganda, and it should involve Ugandans. It's not a personal issue. Frank asked, we are hoping that it will have some kind of impact. You know, that if Mr. Tibuhaburwa cannot listen to Ugandans, who he purports to lead, who give him their hard-earned taxpayer money to run this country, and they're telling him, please use our money better, deliver services and so on. If he can't, hopefully he can listen to our friends, our development partners, our neighbors. Because when a family head is running a home, and he's ill, or she for that matter, you know, ill-treating the children, beating them up, violating their rights, denying them food and so on, sometimes when a neighbor goes and sits down this head of the family and says, you know what you're doing to your children is bad. You know, please feed them well. When they're wrong, you don't get a banger and hack them because you think they have committed an offense and that kind of thing. And sometimes the head of the family will listen to a neighbor that they respect, that they hold in high regard. That's what we are doing. You know, as Ugandans, our leaders are ill-treating us. And so we are saying their colleague leaders can reach out to them and tell them what you're doing is wrong. They're not saying we want to come and run the affairs of your home or your country for that matter. No, it's to say, this is not proper. The same way we can do that for any other country. Uganda, we can reach out to any country and say, you know what? No, the way you're leading your people is not proper, and all of that. So we are hoping that this and several other engagements will have some impact. Of course, we gave them an update about everything we are up to. Just like when we met the other time, we told them we are going into an election. We went into an election, which turned out to be a fraud, and it's public knowledge. We are in court over this matter. So, yes, we told them what they already know, that we are in court. Because for us, we are law-abiding citizens. Our leader, Honorable Kyagulanyi, has said it severally. We are non-violent. We are going to remove Dictator Tibuhaburwa, but we are going to use avenues that are provided for within the law. We're not going to be like Mr. Tibuhaburwa, who picked up guns, went to the bush, shed blood, and took power. No, we are different. We are a lot more civilized. We know that change of leadership should not be by shedding blood, violence, and so on. That's why we keep insisting we are not violent. Anybody that is not violent, that's not our DNA, that's not our person. And so that's very clear.